Life, in its vast complexity, often feels like a series of fleeting moments strung together by dreams we never quite reach, memories we can't let go of, and a vague sense that someday will bring clarity. We drift from one chapter to another, convinced that our current struggles are temporary, that the next phase will reveal our purpose, and that happiness is a destination rather than a way of traveling. Yet the irony is profound. The more we chase meaning, the more we fixate on trivialities, overlooking what truly matters until it slips through our fingers. This paradox of clinging to illusions while ignoring the substance of life has haunted philosophers, poets, and ordinary people alike. It begs the question, are we living in a story we've misunderstood from the start? The triviality trap, chasing shadows. Human existence is riddled with contradictions. We fill our days with tasks that feel urgent but are ultimately forgettable. Scrolling through social media, accumulating possessions, chasing promotions, or curating personas that please strangers. These pursuits give us the illusion of progress, yet they often leave us emptier than before. The ancient myth of Sisyphus, condemned to eternally push a boulder uphill only to watch it roll back down, resonates here. Albert Camus, in The Myth of Sisyphus, argued that life's absurdity lies not in the futility of the struggle, but in our refusal to recognize it. One must imagine Sisyphus happy, he wrote, suggesting that embracing the absurd, the lack of inherent meaning, is the key to liberation. Yet most of us don't embrace the absurd. Instead, we distract ourselves. We convince ourselves that buying a new gadget, achieving a milestone, or gaining approval will fill the void. These trivial pursuits act as anesthesia, numbing us to the deeper questions. What do I truly value? Who am I becoming? Nostalgia's deception, the golden age that never was. If the present feels hollow, we often retreat into the past. Memories polished by time glow with a warmth that the present rarely matches. We romanticize the good old days, a childhood summer, a first love, a time before responsibilities piled up. But those days were not inherently better. They were simply different. They, too, were marred by anxieties, insecurities, and unresolved problems. The poet William Wordsworth captured this duality in Ode, Intimations of Immortality, mourning the loss of childhood wonder while acknowledging that even children feel shades of the prison house closing in. Nostalgia distorts reality. Marcel Proust, in Search of Lost Time, famously wrote of how a bite of a Madeleine cake triggered vivid memories of his youth. But Proust's work isn't just about longing for the past. It's about how memory reconstructs, edits, and idealizes. We miss not the past itself, but the feeling it gave us, a sense of possibility, simplicity, or connection. Yet in clinging to these illusions, we risk dismissing the present's potential. As Soren Kierkegaard warned, life can only be understood backwards, but it must be lived forwards. The great thinkers lament purpose, regret, and the human condition. Philosophers have long grappled with these themes. Kierkegaard, the father of existentialism, argued that despair arises not from suffering, but from refusing to become one's true self. He saw humanity torn between two voids, the ache of unfulfilled potential and the terror of confronting freedom. Similarly, Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, lamented how people waste their lives preparing to live. You are living as if destined to live forever. You squander time as if you drew from a full and abundant supply, though all the while that day which you bestow on some person or thing is perhaps your last. Even Eastern philosophy echoes this. The Buddha taught that attachment to desires, whether for material things, status, or even a fixed identity, leads to suffering, dukkha. Meanwhile, Nietzsche rejected the idea of a predetermined purpose, urging individuals to create their own values through action, become who you are. Yet despite these warnings, we repeat the same mistakes. We delay difficult conversations, take loved ones for granted, and prioritize work over presence, only to regret it later. The Japanese concept of mono no aware, the bittersweet awareness of impermanence, captures this ache. We cherish things most acutely as they fade. The light in the dark, rediscovering what matters. So where does meaning lie? The answer, as thinkers across eras suggest, is not in waiting for clarity but in acting despite uncertainty. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist, wrote in Man's Search for Meaning that purpose isn't found in abstract ideals, but in responding to life's challenges with dignity. Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. Consider the mundane moments we overlook, a shared meal, a walk in nature, the quiet courage of showing up for someone. These are the real things that hide in the shadows of our ambition. The poet Mary Oliver distilled this into a question. Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Her work urges us to stop merely visiting the world and to engage with it fully, the antidote to drifting, action over apathy. Waiting for purpose to reveal itself is a form of self-sabotage. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, wrote in Meditations, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Happiness isn't a distant reward. It's the byproduct of living intentionally. This requires courage to forgive, to apologize, to risk failure, to prioritize relationships over productivity. Take Thoreau, who retreated to Walden Pond not to escape life, but to live deliberately. He found richness in simplicity, writing, "I went to the woods because I wished to live fronting only the essential facts of life and see if I could not learn what it had to teach." His experiment wasn't about grand achievements, but about stripping away distractions to confront what mattered, writing the story backward. Life's triviality is not inherent. It's a lens we've chosen. The dreams we chase, the nostalgia we cling to, and the purpose we await are all narratives we construct to make sense of chaos. But meaning isn't found in the plot twists. It's woven into the small, unglamorous stitches of daily living. The solution lies within. As Rumi wrote, "You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop." Our power isn't in controlling outcomes, but in choosing how to engage with the present. The past is a ghost, the future a mirage. What we have is now. To stop waiting is to start living. To act is to reclaim agency. And in doing so, we might find that the unknown purpose was never hidden at all. It was in us all along, waiting to be lived. After all, Sisyphus's boulder is ours too, but perhaps the climb itself can be enough.